Hey guys, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com, and welcome back to 5 Minutes to a Better Mix, where we're looking at 31 mixing tips in 31 days. And yesterday we took a look at mono and how you should phase check your drums in mono. But we're going to take the mono idea one step further and implement it into our mixing process with guitars and instruments and EQ. Okay, what mono will do for you is force you to work smarter. When you have your tracks in mono, you can't get separation in your mix based on, oh, this guitar is in the left, I hear it nice. This guitar is in the right, I hear that nice. The keyboards are in the middle, that has some separation. That kind of stereo separation with panning really will trick you into becoming lazy with your EQing, okay? Because you might hear things perfectly fine and separated, but then the mix will fall apart the moment you're out of that stereo spectrum, meaning someone's listening to this mix on their iHome stereo on top of their kitchen counter or something. They have a mono mix at that point because the two speakers are blasting sound to their ear from across the room. By the time it hits your face, it's mono, okay? So what I like to do is EQ in mono, okay? I like to do a lot of my hardcore mixing in mono so that I don't have false separation with stereo. I have to actually work harder with my EQs to get the tracks to stand out. So in Pro Tools here, I'm going to use the same stereo width plugin with a width pulled to 0. Right now, this track is in stereo because I've bypassed this plugin. But with this switch, it goes to mono. Okay, so I've got everything in mono. Now, let me show you how muddy this track will sound if I take off the EQ on my two acoustic guitars, acoustic one, acoustic double, my two electrics, and this dulcimer track, okay? I'm going to pop it back into stereo, and I'm going to get rid of the EQ, okay? Okay, now you probably noticed that the electric guitars sound kind of dull and muffled, but you could still hear the one guitar on the left, you could hear the dulcimer, you could maybe hear the acoustic, but pop this same mix into mono and see what happens. It's just a jumbled mess. There's too much low end, obviously, in some of those electrics. But I feel like you notice that a lot more when it's mono. Because here's the deal. You flip it to mono, you're trying to EQ your guitars, and you need to say, can I hear every single instrument? I know that the acoustics are there. I know personally because I see a track that says acoustic and because I recorded it. But if I close my eyes, and as my good buddy Kevin Ward says, if every guitar were a separate player, if each acoustic guitar were a separate player and the electric were a separate player, and their mothers were sitting in the studio with me, listening to me mix, would those moms be able to hear their son or daughter and playing their parts clearly? Or would they say, hey, how come I can't hear my son's acoustic part? You have to think like that to the point where you give each track the attention it needs. And honestly, in mono, it's really hard to pick them apart. So that's where you should EQ. You should EQ in mono when it's really hard to pull them apart so that you get the right balance and you get something more like this. And then when you pop it to stereo, it's that much clearer. right? I hope this makes sense. It's really, really helpful to force yourself to EQ your guitars, your pianos, your instruments in mono, because then you'll be using EQ to actually create separation. Once you pop it back to stereo, it'll be that much clearer, it'll be that much fuller, and then you will know that your mix won't fall apart in the EQ realm, in the separation realm, when it's not played in a perfect stereo environment. Take that, run with it. It will help you tremendously. Again, this is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com with 5 minutes to a better mix. Hope to see you on the next video.